on and hope that the technology serves me well. And maybe just push it. You're a bit worried about that. Okay. But take chances, eh? All right. Let's move it that way, I think. And there we go. Thank you very much. I have to say that I've thoroughly enjoyed actually having these discussions with people. And today the room is full of people who have studied child and youth care work. And obviously we're all working in different contexts. And so it just is very interesting. And I want to start with the most basic question. There'll be really two elements to what I want to talk about today. One is, what do you think are the roles and functions of child and youth care workers? And what is missing from the training, or what works in the training? Those are kind of two things that I'm really going to be working at, education and training. I'll use those words interchangeably. People have talked a lot about different things that child and youth care workers do. And I'm starting off, and as I say that question, it's a very broad, open, wide, and basic question. So I'm really asking, sort of on a blank canvas, as it were, what is child and youth care work? What are the elements of child and youth care work practice that you consider to be important? Anybody want to kick it off? You look like something's right there. And remember, please, people, there's no right and wrong answers here. This is really about collecting perspectives.
I'm just coming from a NACOSA board meeting, and we had a beneficiary who presented, and she was saying we had a facilitator who had our interests at heart, and she was young enough to understand and to relate to us. So I'm thinking one of the basic principles is actually having the best interest, acting at the best interest of the child. I think that is a core for every child and youth care worker. What does this child need specifically? Not treating all the children with the same measurement. Like, each child has got their own specific needs, despite them going through the same challenge. Yeah. Each person responds to a specific challenge differently. So having the best interest, knowing how to work with a child as an individual.
Okay, thank you. And the other element of what you're saying here is the relational part, yeah? Yes. Yeah. Anybody else like to?
I always find it so difficult to define a child and youth care worker. I can define child and youth care, but I cannot define a child and youth care worker because we have no clear definition. I think I have actually spoke about this before. To me, being a child and youth care worker is more than having the best interest of a child at heart. It's about having love, patience, empathy, compassion, and it's so difficult to find people like that nowadays. Trust me, you can ask me. Yeah. I've been there. So the best way that I normally define a child and youth care worker is through the life space and how each and every child and youth care worker hold themselves in the life space or portray themselves in the life space. So that is one of the aspects that I think is still missing a lot, a clear definition of what a child and youth care worker is. Because if you say to me, it's working in the best interest of the child, as an SSP, I am a child and youth care worker, I'm a community developer, I am working in the best interest of the child.
Yeah, sure. So we're starting off and in a sense putting elements together that together give us the cluster. And I think Isabel kicked us off with one idea. And I agree with you that that's part of why I'm doing this study, is because I think that actually it's really very difficult to actually define what is a child and youth care work. I agree with you. So what we've got to try to do is say, what are those elements that actually, and I think you've talked about some qualities, that child and youth care workers must bring. But what are the things that we do? What are the roles and functions? And yeah, please, let's just all put it out in a kind of brainstorming way, if we can. No rights and wrongs here.
I think I would like to respond to that. When it comes to roles and responsibilities, I feel that child and youth care workers is everything to everyone. And I think that is our downfall, because it differs from organization to organization.
Yeah?
Because the needs of organizations differ.
Yeah.
So if I should pinpoint a few of my responsibilities, I would say it's designing programs, it's driving, it's escorting, it's working in the life space whilst you're doing all of those little elements. So it's very difficult to define. Child and youth care worker, I think Zam has mentioned it, Isabel too has pinpointed quite a bit of things as well. So it's a tricky thing, because even if we go a little bit back to social work, our roles are all intertwined.
Yes.
And we find that we are constantly stepping on each other's toes because we don't know who should do what. So
okay, but you've mentioned some of the aspects of what you need to do. I mean, in the context in which you are working, there's not a secure care centre, no?
it is a secure
It's a secure care centre. No, okay. It's been different things at different times over the years.
Yeah.
So forgive me. But what are the kinds of things that are the roles of child and youth care workers in that secure care centre? What are the functions even? Let's just try and use those words interchangeably, and see where that takes us.
Maybe I should even describe a normal day for me. Coming into the centre on a day, as I do a 12-hour shift. So I would come in at 7. When I come in at 7, I might have a child needing to go to clinic. Very few of our child and youth care workers have a driver's license. So if it's Sam that has a driver's license on this shift, Sam would probably be driving the whole day.
Right.
Because I would go and drop someone with a care worker, and I would come back and I would find a call saying that Peter also needs to be at another clinic, maybe in Rondebosch or in Cape Town. So sometimes half of my day would be spent driving. I would go back to the facility, I would find some of the kids are at school. This is still one day. Some of the kids might still be at school, so I would be in and out of classroom because maybe the teacher cannot handle a behavior of a particular resident. I would deal with that at that particular time. So then I would go back out, give the teacher her duty. Then we would have lunch. From lunch, we would observe. Between lunch, maybe from 1 to 2, we will have a little program. And program people will come and do their program, but we will assist. From there, it will be, because our kids would probably eat at 6 times a day.
6 times a day.
6 times a day.
That's the way we keep them quiet in secure care.
Our kids would eat 6 times a day. At 7 they get their first meal. At 10:30 they get a tea time. At 1 o'clock they get a lunch. At 3:30 they get another late snack.
Okay.
5 it's again, and then 7 again. They eat 6 times a day.
Okay.
So a lot of our work, I feel, is more of a support. Sometimes I feel like I hold a BTEC, so I hardly do child and youth care because I do operations most of the time. Other operational things like getting kids where they need to be.
Yeah. And when you're doing that, I mean, are you able to do kind of what we would call work in the life space? I mean, kids go places. They often, go places that are quite scary for them. Are you able to intervene in those kinds of situations to make that experience something of a learning experience, or at least a manageable experience for children?
Yeah, I think in any space where you find the child, that is the life space. So whatever moment I get, I try to engage with the resident, or child, and try to find out what's happening, because you get those moments that are your moment that you need to take as a child and youth care worker with that particular child. So you do get to chat, to interact, to intervene. But with everything that needs to be done by one child and youth care worker in one day, you feel like you have this loads of things to do when everyone else is just sitting at the facility doing nothing.
Yeah, because some people are not actually. Some people just come to work; they don't work.
Yeah.
No, that's another problem. That's for somebody else's PhD, not yours.
That is actually interesting.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else? What are the things that we do? We've had now idea of this is like going through the days and so on, but just different things about child and youth care work. What are the things the most? I mean, the central issues that come to mind is like what your roles or responsibilities might be. What are the functions of the child and youth care worker? Yeah.
Okay, for me, child and youth care worker, it's like people have talked about needs, that we have to work at the best interest of the child's needs. But then, for me, it's also involved just being a listener to a child, because you'll find that a child maybe at home has no one to talk to, or maybe a child is coming from those kind of family whereby you are not allowed to maybe get pregnant or go out, or how can I put this? The thing is with the recorder.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that at all, because it's just going to go into a machine and then it's going to come out as words on a paper.
What I was trying to say is that a child a child needs someone who can just listen to them, because maybe you can find that where they are coming from, maybe a parent is working far, or maybe they have a parent that doesn't sit with them and listen to their needs. Because a child can need someone, maybe is going through adolescent or something. It's going that phase and they have no one to talk to. So you find out that a child will end up doing, I don't want to say a wrong decision, but because they don't have that someone who can guide them to that right decision, they can end up doing a decision that they didn't want to do.
Sure.
Also, a child needs someone who won't be too judgy. Because when I first came to Cape Town, working at Khayelitsha at Site B Youth Clinic, you'll find that there is a 12-year-old going for a family planning. And for me, at first time, it was a shock for me. But then, what I'm trying to say is, a child youth care worker needs to be not judgy to what the child decisions need. You just have to be there for them and try to take care of their needs.
But you're talking about relationship as well, aren't you? You're talking about, when you talk about guiding and so on, you're talking about actually establishing that relationship. You're saying listening.
Trusted
and that the listening is important because it also establishes the relationship. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. And listening is not just straightforward, is it? I mean, there's many ways to listen, and sometimes people say, well, truly listening is the most therapeutic thing that anybody can do. But anyhow, I'm not supposed to be adding in my thoughts here. Is that?
Can I again just well, it's I find that our job descriptions as child and youth care workers are drafted by people that don't understand child and youth care.
Yes.
So what happens is you find a job description, you employed, you sign it because it's part of your job. You're a child and youth care worker.
Yeah.
So when, for instance, when we sit and we do our monitoring and evaluation, you find that you have KPIs that you need to reach or whatever the case might be. And in your KPIs would, for instance, be fetching the laundry. So it's like child and youth care,
Yeah.
fetching laundry.
Yeah.
That is always what I've been battling with in the field, and therefore I feel that when we get our job descriptions, we sign it because it's a job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we are not going to question it because
Sure. Yeah, and in a way that's why we need so much more advocacy. That's why we need to be working so much more at social development level. That's why we need so much more of pushing with the powers that be to make those kinds of changes. And hopefully after last week things are looking a little bit better in terms of us actually at least having met the minister. Because in South Africa, you need political power behind everything that you do. But thank you. Yeah.
No, I have a point there. I have to just leave a little bit more to Samantha. I always say a child and youth care worker is a specialist. Once the field, the social service field, understands that, our work will be so much easier. Because we deal with the holistic development of young people. There is no better person, or there is no one who does it better than us. So I was shocked at one time when I was sitting in SSP workshop when this representative from the National Department of Social Development said, people call themselves specialists, but you have to end the term. I think that's where our advocacy should align more into them understanding that we don't deal with the general ills of the society like the social workers, but we are specialists. We deal with the holistic development of young people individually.
Okay. Yeah. And coming back to the point that Isabel kicked off with, that individualized work. Yeah, thank you. But the holistic nature of it. Yeah. And I think that's exactly why I'm doing this, is to try to actually get this across more to people. So, because I agree with you, there still is a tremendous lack of understanding of what it is that we do. Anybody else?
No, you're looking at me.
I'm looking at you.
Okay. I was just thinking about something that you said from the start about introducing yourself and having people ask, what is that? Because on Friday, same thing happened to me when I went to an event and I had to do a presentation, and when I was sitting with other guest speakers, they kept saying I'm a teacher because it was a department thing. And then I kept saying to her, no, I'm not a teacher, until I got the opportunity. And they're like, oh. So that is very annoying. So for me, what I've learned, this year was my first year being employed, actually being employed for the first time in my life. So there was a lot of things I learned that I enjoyed about being a child and youth care worker. One thing that stood out for me is that there is no specific, there is no that specific direction that this is how a child and youth care work, because the needs of the child are not tailor-made for each and every child. So what I learned about myself and being a child and youth care worker each and every day is that you would wake up with a plan. Yes, and you go to bed with a different plan.
Yeah.
So yes, a lot of things I really enjoyed my experience as a child and youth care worker, even though I used to complain a lot. But when you know that there is someone that is counting on you to make a change in their life, giving up just doesn't make sense. So I loved the whole idea of knowing that you're not here for yourself, you are here for some other people. So child and youth care work really taught me that you yourself, you need to understand what it is that you're doing for you to attempt to help another person. So most of the time I was learning more about myself through other people, in terms of when you're working with a family, you would see yourself in a child within that family. Yes. So I learned a lot of things actually being a child and youth care worker, and I actually miss the field because being a vet is something different. But I'm back in the field because I'm doing sessions for Stepping Stones, so we are getting to discussions about things that I like: culture, religion, and gender. So I'm back to doing what I love.
Okay, yeah.
So for me, child and care work is more or less about, yes, relationships, giving support, and knowing yourself. And I feel that people really need to stand up for themselves. When people call us teachers, we're not teachers, we're not going to be teachers. So let's not entertain that. I was really getting annoyed at how they were saying, oh, you are a miss. I don't know how many people. I even texted Mauricio that now I'm really getting pissed. Because I don't understand why is it so simple for people to understand that there is something called child and youth care.
Well, the thing is I've discovered about life is that it doesn't change because you want it to change. It changes because you make it change. And I think that, I mean, if I think of the fact that I started work 40 years ago, almost, and at that stage I wasn't even called a child and youth care worker. There wasn't such a name. You were called an assistant house mother or something like that. So it's at least, so I have seen changes and moves, but I think that we need to move much faster and much quicker, and there's more that we need to do. And part of this is doing it, is actually because you are articulating here what you think is child and youth care work helps us to put that out to the bigger, wider world. So yeah, thank you. And I must say, I think that there is nothing quite like that first year of working. Yeah, I think you're like a baby, actually. You know, like a baby who grows more, they say, in the first year than you ever do
in your whole entire life.
Yeah, and it is like that, is that you have so much to absorb. Yeah, thank you. Noaz, you were going to say something.
Yes, I think being a child and youth care worker involves being able to relate with the children, being able to put yourself in their shoes, understanding them. And I think that's where we get to actually help and be able to assist and work well with them. I think that's all I can say for now.
But then, what is it that we do that helps? You know, or so when we say help them, what are we saying that we would do in helping them? What
you assess what is it that they really need, what assistance they need from you as a child and youth care worker. Then you take it from there.
And so once you've assessed, then what do you do?
And then you help.
Would you just say that you assess, you support, you refer, you do interventions that are needed? So again, you deal with the holistic individual. Okay, you just tackle the needs of that particular child.
I like that word, tackle.
It's about everything that involves that child at that particular moment. Whether it's education, family support, medical health support, you are there as a child and youth care worker. So basically, you are everything to that child at that given moment. And that hence the reason we use working in the moment. Right? You work in the moment, but you don't stop there. You continue giving the support throughout.
Maybe to just build on assessment. I think the difference that the child and youth care worker comes with is that my assessment is not a form that I'm going to fill in. I do fill in a form, but however, I need the client, the child, the beneficiary to actually tell me, because there are they know their situation and they probably have the best solution. You don't have the solution as a child English care worker. So you talk to the child. Your assessment is understanding the point at which the child is and the point that and assisting them to get to the point that they want to get it. Sometimes they know the point that they want to get it. And sometimes from what they say, you can gather where they actually want to be at. So our assessment is not just a paper. It's gathering information from the child so that you can tailor a response to what they actually need.
I love that point. Sorry. I love that point. Hence, my argument is, when you say, I am a child and youth care worker, if I look at a child, we are talking about 0 to 12-year-old. So how do you deal with a 6-year-old in that situation that doesn't know what I want? Okay, he will say, okay, no, what he actually knows is to explore, play outside. So in that moment, you become a parent. You become a support system. I work with kids from the ages of 6 months to 8 years. Okay, in the facility that I'm in right now, I'm dealing with a lot of discipline pertaining child and youth care workers beating the kids within the facility, you know. So I don't have evidence because I don't have cameras for now. Okay, so in that moment, I have to take the situation or whatever situation that I'm facing by the horn and say, okay, if you are giving me evidence, I have to rely on that. So in that moment, that child as a ward of the state, I become the parent, the supporter and everything. And I take decision on behalf of the child. So there are instances where we will actually take decisions for these kids because they are unable to do so.
Thank you.
Something just came up again.
All right, and then just we can hear from you, Isabel. Then I'd like to hear from others who we haven't heard from.
But I
as
get
well.
where you're coming from because you're working with youth. But then again, we work with them from a very young age up until they progress or transition to that adolescent stage where you call them youth. It's easier to work with youth, trust me.
When she was talking, I just thought of another principle of child participation, which is very important for us as child and youth care workers, for children that can actually provide input to programs or input to a care plan or an assessment that you're actually doing, that we actually take time as child and youth care workers to understand, okay, what is it that this child actually wants? What input can they provide in their care plan? Because once you allow them to participate in developing maybe a care plan, they take ownership of actually seeing that these goals are met.
Yeah.
But if you now develop one, it's your care plan. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. Basic principle of participation. Sorry. You look like you were going to say something now.
Yes, I wanted to say that I've heard the term specialist being thrown out there, and it's true, because as a child and youth care worker, you may have fallen asleep with the plan, but the beauty in our work is that we don't have a set plan as an 8 to 5 or something written straight on paper. As much as, yes, we do need child and youth care workers to draft contracts for us because they know what's happening in the field. But for me, it's waking up in the morning and knowing that, okay, my day doesn't start from 8 to 5, or I don't have to be at a set office. I can be anywhere at any time. And it's also about knowing that we are skilled enough to change our roles. We wear many hats in one day. You can go and play with a 3-year-old, and you can go and have a discussion with an 18-year-old all in one day. I think that's the beauty of our profession. So that's what I wanted to add.
Or a Google, for that matter. You can end up having a kind of discussion. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Did you want to say something now?
No, nothing.
Okay. I don't want to put you on the spot. Did you want to say something or not?
It's fine because
thing or two.
Okay.
Okay, to me, being a child and youth care worker is being able to be flexible. Just like what Noctula has said.
Yes.
You can be with a 3-year-old now and an 18 years old. Also, to be able to handle behavior of young people in a correct way by actually looking beyond the behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Because each and every behavior displays a certain need. So we need to look beyond what the young person, how the young person is behaving. We must look at what provoked that behavior of the young person, the needs of the young person, the things that made the young person
Right.
do what she or he is doing, and then start there.
Start to understand from there.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Start by understanding what is actually happening before you correct the behavior. You must fix
Okay.
what is under.
Okay. Okay. So you're saying that we don't deal with things just as superficial.
Yeah.
We actually need to look at a whole lot deeper than that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Can I just understand from your experience as people who have degrees in child and youth care work, is there a difference? Do you see a difference in child and youth care work at auxiliary level or professional level? Or do you see it as kind of one and the same, and that child and youth care workers are just taking on different roles in different places? What are the thoughts around that?
Man, it's so frustrating. Honestly. It's so frustrating. I think Samantha in her blog actually wrote about that. Was there a reason for us to empower and upskill youth to become child and youth care workers? Is there a reason for someone to go to school to become a child and youth care worker? It was a valid reason at that given time. I will say, especially in the Western Cape, the definition of a child and youth care worker in the Western Cape is so distorted as opposed to the other provinces.
Mm-hmm.
You will come with your degree. Your degree don't give you anything different in the field than someone who is at an auxiliary level. In fact, your roles, your JDs, job descriptions are the same.
Yeah.
In fact, the facilities in the Western Cape will go on and hire someone who is a house mother and leave you at an auxiliary level with all your qualifications and your experience just because you have that certificate from SAC SSP. That is the reality out here. So there is no difference whatsoever at this given moment in time. And that is where I think this field is lacking. To actually have a clear roles, should I say, roles for child and youth care workers, at indigenous child and youth care workers, because I still believe they have space in this field, and child and youth care workers at an auxiliary level, and child and youth care workers at a degree level. With that said, I think because we are here now, if you have a diploma and someone has NQF4, that is NQF4 and NQF6, but both of you are going to register at an auxiliary level. I don't think there is fairness in that. And it makes the employers, it makes the employers' lives very difficult in the field because they do not know how to distinguish, because both of you are coming with SAC SSP certificates at an auxiliary level, hence you are telling me that you have NQF4, so you have lesser understanding than someone who has NQF6 in this field. So there is no clear, I think that also falls back to the board to actually try and put measures in place as to what is what in this field. I appreciate where we are, but I don't think we are where we're supposed to be at this given moment in time, especially when it comes to hiring child and youth care workers in the field. child and youth care workers with degrees are coming in, and they are going to be managed by child and youth care workers with NQF.
Exactly.
And I don't think that is fair.
Mm.
So there is no difference in the field whatsoever. If you say you are a
Can
child and youth care worker, they just throw you in one pot.
Can I ask you another question then? Should there be? That's what I'm
Yes.
asking. Should there be?
They should.
And what should that difference be then? What should we be looking at as being the difference? I don't know. Did you want to answer that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me do
Anazama.
something else.
Was it
I
Anazama?
want to say something.
Somebody else wanted to say something, so
Yeah.
we'll
Can
come
someone say
back to you,
something
Zama.
first?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
please.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to say something about a person that has a degree and a person that doesn't have a degree. When it comes to the work environment, it really doesn't matter. What matters is how you open your mouth and how you do your work.
Mm.
You can have a degree but still act like you don't have a degree. So for me, it really, qualification does not scare an individual over passion. So you
Okay.
can have a degree and still go to the workplace and be clueless, and you'll have someone that does not have a degree but knows everything to perfection.
Mm.
So we are not going to rate people based on what they have over qualification, because now the message you are sending is basically what you don't know doesn't matter because you don't have a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
it doesn't really make constructive sense to a basis that I can have a degree in child and youth care work, but I can carry a conversation with a medical student and still have valid points.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so differing points of view.
Okay, my experience that I've had in the field, I've realized when we were working with a person who's fresh out of school and a person who has been who did FET with practicals throughout and someone mentoring them throughout, I've actually realized that this person has got a wealth of knowledge. And this person is coming with something that is theoretical. I'm coming with my BTech from DUT, and it's theoretical. I had practicals for 200 hours at William Clark and at Addington Primary School. And that was it, and I was done. When I come into the field and I have a family where you have a stepfather who's saying, you see, my family is actually, no one in this family is HIV positive. We have cancer. But this young person in this family needs to be on art. Otherwise, it's not going to be good for them. It becomes difficult for a person who hasn't had the practice to actually counsel that father, assist the mother, to actually also help their partner to understand that this is the right way. So I also think experience also matters a lot, because you get to understand how to tackle issues rather than I'm coming with my information from class.
Okay. And then if we are, so these are complex issues and we're not going to be able to go into them all in this short space of time, but we kind of just touching on them. But are there things that we think that should be included in the training, like that you experienced? I mean, links to you. I heard you say 200 hours. Okay, so yes. Everybody says yes. So what are those things then? What should we also be looking at? And what actually was really good?
Investing more in practicals.
Yes.
Because when I got here for the first time and I met a family, the only thing I can say is the knowledge that you will use compared to school is things you've learned from home. From when the advice you would give are things you learn from home. Because during practicals you stay for like 2 weeks. The whole year, that counts for the whole year, just 2 weeks. Then you have to come in the field, and I had to deal with the family. I don't know what to do with this family, and now you're starting to look like a clueless. Yet you do have a degree, and then there comes someone that has experienced all their lives to rescue you, but you have the ability to question that person's authority. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't.
Okay.
So I feel like there need to be more investment on different kinds of fields and more hours in practicals for people to actually determine that this is what I want. Because the 2 weeks doesn't do us any justice.
And I don't know whether I'm putting words into your mouth, because I shouldn't. is it? Are you saying also that when you're out there working, in a sense you're far more on your own, whereas when you're doing practicals, there's always somebody else kind of who's there to like really carry the can if you actually are needing to, if something needs to be done.
Yes.
Whereas if you go into a family, it's you and the family.
And you need to drive the ship. How are you driving the ship without proper material?
Right. Okay. Other people's point of view?
My experience when I started working as a child and youth care worker in Khayelitsha, beginning of this year, was that I had a degree, but the knowledge, the experience was lacking. And the people who would come to my rescue were people with the NQ level 4. They had more experience, and even I actually learned so much from them than the things that I had actually learned from school. And the honest truth is that the information that I learned from school is 30 or 40% than the experience, than the information I've learned from the people with the NQ level 4 and from working, actually doing the work in the community.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I also feel like Zetu and Isabel, we need more practicals
Right.
in varsity
Right.
before coming in and working and getting that degree.
Okay.
Also,
I wanted to say something also that okay.
Is it
Gone.
gone? Is it gone? Is it going to come back?
I'm about to leave.
Do you want to add in your last words on this matter before
Just
you
before
go?
I leave. Okay. I am quite concerned at this point in time. Maybe it's more like a homework that we need to do, to go back home and actually look into how the social work field works. Because a social worker who is a supervisor or with masters cannot be supervised by an auxiliary social worker. Maybe we need to have a reality check when we come to, when we talk about professionalizing this field. With that said, I said we still have space in this field for indigenous child and youth care workers. We cannot take that away from them. They are there. They've been there forever, way before this field was professionalized. So we need them. We are supervised by them when we are doing practicals. But being supervised by them doesn't necessarily mean that they can manage me. I refuse to believe that. Yes, you have a wealth of knowledge. I argue this all the time. You have a wealth of knowledge, and there is space for you with that wealth of knowledge to go back to school and actually put theory on it. Okay? That's one part. What else did I wanted to add? I wanted to add something else. Okay. DUT. I always say that NACCW is in a better position to offer child and youth care training as opposed to DUT. And I'm honest about this. I've been to DUT, I've done my studies with DUT. There is so much that is lacking. NACCW have a wealth of knowledge when it comes to training child and youth care workers. So they are in a better position to even open a college where they specifically train child and youth care workers. I don't know what DUT is doing, but DUT is doing something. I'm sorry about that. What I will actually appreciate about DUT was that in my training or during my studies, they added management subject in it, which actually helped me to become who I am today. But they still need to add subjects like psychology and actually do it maybe module 1 up to 4, isn't it? 4 years. You are doing 4 years now. They still need to do psychology and actually make that a focus or a major subject, because then if you want to go out and do your master's in something else, a degree, I don't know about a degree, sorry, a BTEC that is from DUT doesn't carry any weight out in the field. You go out in the field and you start from scratch if you want to study.
That is so true.
And then you have to work yourself up. So why am I spending 250,000 empowering myself for nothing to become a nanny outside in the field? So that is something that we need, all of us need to actually go and do a homework on it. Are we where we want to be? What is out there for us? Because we cannot sit here and hope that Mel will work magic. Hopefully they will work magic when it comes to this. But at the end of the day, I am looking forward to UWC coming in, because maybe they are coming in with something different. Because right now, what we have doesn't really carry any weight in the field.
When you say in the field, what do you mean?
Social service field. Like, for instance, let me make an example. Samantha is doing social work, okay? If she has a BTEC in child and youth care, but if she wants to do social work, she has to start from her first year. She cannot get credit for anything. For anything, for any subject. That I am currently doing my BA, Bachelor of Arts in Criminology. With that Bachelor of Arts in Criminology, I started from scratch. I didn't get any credit for the subjects that I did at DUT.
Yeah, I think that's an advocacy point, because I don't think that's I don't think it's appropriate. You know, I mean, as I say, I'm not supposed to be adding my opinion here, but I don't think it's appropriate, because the truth is that you come out with a wealth of knowledge. You know, you're going to come out of that degree, and you're going to struggle to apply it for a little while, but once you've had your first year, you know, once you've got a bit of experience under your belt, it's going to take you someplace, you know. And I think that's in terms of the capacity, but I think that's something that does need to be considered.
Well, I just want to add something.
Zami, you need to go. Yeah, please. Are you going to go? You're going with her.
Yes. What did I want to say?
No, it's gone.
It was about studies.
Yeah, no, it was about studies, but I've lost it. It's fine. It will probably come back again.
Yeah, I don't want you to come back in the car. I wanted to come back before you get to the car.
Oh, yeah. We are losing a lot of child and youth care workers in the field. Child and youth care workers would rather go and study social work. They would rather go and do a PGCE. Because that, unfortunately, as harsh as this sounds, we need to live. I always say this: passion does not pay the bills. I can have the world of passion and give my whole heart when I go to work, but passion does not pay the bills. At the end of the day, the reality is we are losing child and youth care workers to social work. I'm one of them. I was considering going to do a PGCE. I'm now doing social work. So ultimately, it's sad to see child and youth care workers leave the field.
I agree with you. 100%. Yeah. And hopefully, as we develop the field more, there will be greater recognition, and it's a matter of actually building the road as we go. Unfortunately, so yeah, and hopefully the thought is always that those people who move from child and youth care work into social work take child and youth care work with them, so they become social workers who actually have a complete and rich understanding of child and youth care work, who can really influence interdisciplinary work and integrated work in a different kind of way. So I do have that hope. So I'll pin my hopes on you, Sam. Okay, thank you very much for your presence. We'll carry on a few minutes if you don't mind. Is everybody able to stay just another 10-15 minutes?
Yes.
brilliant. Thank you. Thanks so much.
signed this more.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, that's perfect. As long as you signed it, that's important. I don't need your thumbprint. Your signature will work. Thank you. Thanks so much. Great. And you'll find your way out. You know your way out, eh? Yeah, I'm sure he is.
Bye, guys.
You know where he is, eh? Okay, thanks so much. Thanks. So, just continuing then the conversation about what else we need to know, and what else would be useful to have in our training. Zama? Now the one Zama's going. We've still got one here. We want to hear from another Zama. What do you think?
Can you please repeat the question?
Well, it isn't really a question. I was actually opening you to any thoughts you had around what we've been talking about. I don't have a specific question as such.
Okay. As child and youth care worker, I think for child and youth care worker from DUT, I think we need more practicals, as they were saying.
Okay, you agree with that?
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay.
Because when we, like me, I just started working in October.
Right?
This year, yes.
Okay.
So it's very hard to just go to the family
Yes.
and I'm clueless. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of practicals. I mean, short practicals we do than theory. We focus more on theory than practicals. So I think we need to focus more on practicals in order so that we will be able to practice it.
Okay.
In our workplace.
Okay.
There should actually be a balance between the theory and the practicals, because we need the theory also
Yeah.
just as much as we need the practicals.
Yeah.
And just to add on what Sam was saying before she left, that we're losing child and youth care workers, it's because the idea of child and youth care work we have when we're in varsity is very different to what we find when we get to the field
Really?
of child and youth care work. Yes, it is. When we're at DUT, child and youth care work is not really what we find in the field and at work. So that is why we are losing child and youth care workers into other fields. Because when they start working, they realize, no, this is not what I actually wanted,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
this is a bit too much for me, and then they
Yeah.
and
And how is it different? Just explain that to me. May I have some water, please? Noctula, please assist her. She's already now kicked the ball into play, so she's.
I think when it comes to the practicality of what we're studying, it's not the same. Like it's kind of made rosy in the textbook. That's what I'm going to say. Yes.
extreme.
Yes,
Okay.
because we also need to start afresh. One thing that Sam was saying, that we have a degree, yes, but then when we want to go further into other professions, we are not credited. And then coming back to the field itself, when I was coming in this year, I thought I'm going to go into the stories that they told us. They told us goosebump stories. Yes, they are still there, but the challenges are far greater than what we've read about. So I think our education needs to come back to reality a bit and look at the challenges that are happening around the community in South Africa and try and make the theory to balance out on what's happening outside, because it doesn't make sense if I go out there, I'm studying, what am I studying? I don't know, I can't give a practical example of what I'm studying, but then I go into a family, for example, and then I have to go and counsel their family. Like, what are the practical steps of doing it? Yes, I've read about it on paper, but then how do I go into a family and like, hi, my name is Noctula, I'm a child and care worker. How am I going to assist the child? So because there is a difference, so they need to change.
Okay, so Sorry?
No, I'm just adding that there should be a balance between the theory and the practicals.
And it sounds like what you're saying is that you felt that you were a little bit like protected in your course. Am I right? Is that the right way of thinking about it? That you didn't experience how rough it is to be a child care worker. Yeah.
Not that it's bad.
It's not bad, but
I'm talking about my experience, man. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Because I love reading. I read most of the journals. Even now, I still read the journals are selling you a dream. It's a fairy tale. Go to reality. See? Because even now, I still struggle approaching a family as a whole. Till today, I've been employed from January till today. I can't deal with the whole family. I need a child. Because I feel like it's here. It's heavy. I can't. I can't deal with the family. I feel like I'm not equipped to deal with the family as a whole. I would rather deal with the person on a one-to-one basis, and that's me waking up to the family. I can't approach a family and deal with the whole family.
Right. And so that would be something that could be included in the training.
Because I was not trained to deal with the family. On my practicals, I was in a school. I was dealing with the child. I've never seen a family at duty. I don't know what to do with the family.
Okay. Other people?
sorry, to add on, what did help when I was coming into the profession was having the experienced child and youth care workers, because they could say, hey, I see you struggling here, I can help you out. Or whereas I can help them as well in my small way, we could always work together. So also finding a way where the child and youth care workers with more experience can meet together with the child and youth care workers who have gone to school, that would also help, because I did gain a lot from working with child and youth care workers who had more experience than I.
And they are also getting a lot from what we learned
at school as well.
Yes.
You would contract a beautiful case management student, but you can't approach a family. You see?
I understand.
That's me.
Yeah.
You actually.
Isabel, what do you say?
I wanted to say, I think maybe if we could even add seminars of having a person who's worked in the community at a NQF level 4 with degree students, not the doctored, well presented, well prepared person, like the rawness of child and youth care work, so that people can actually understand what are the highlights of this profession, what are the challenges, how do you overcome the obstacle. My life as a child, one day in the life of a child and youth care worker, experience, okay, when I started site, this is what I do. And then from site, I'm going to visit 5 families in that day. I've scheduled 5 families. What is it that I did with those families, each individual in that family? How did I manage to hold a conversation with the whole family? There is a grandmother and there's a grandfather, and you get into a family which lives, it's a compound. They are extended families in the backyard.
Yes.
Now you have to hold a conversation with almost 20 people. How do I do that as an individual? I'm coming from DUT with my theory. To tell you the truth, Mel, I learned a lot when I became a mentor in Mpumalanga. You'd walk for 2 hours, and I was thinking, I was never told I'm going to work for 2 hours, because it's farms.
Yes.
Walk for 2 hours. By the time you get to the family, you actually have to wipe the sweat, breathe, and then you get into the household. You're still trying to put yourself in order, and you're starting to talk to the family, and then you realize, no, if she talks, they sort of actually listen and acknowledge, whereas I'm making noise. I'm not going through. And you actually say, oh, okay, fine. I learned so much from people who have been in the field from day one, because they start in the field from day one. By the time they finish their qualification, they have both the theory and the practical work. So those seminars, or even exchanges, if we could do exchanges, like they come in Isibindi, they experience what, yes, and even add a module to the work that the history of child and youth care work. Where did we start? You look at law, they study cases. Like, this was a case
Yes.
that the FBI could not solve. They
Yes.
study cases. We don't do that in child and youth care work. That we've had such phenomenal cases that you've been given approval by families to share. We have so many stories. I can think of so many stories we've been given approval by families to share because they like the work that you did. Study those cases to actually understand what is it that I'm supposed to do as a child and youth care worker.
That's a very interesting point. So actually more of taking apart on a theoretical level even what practice is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Like looking
Practice.
at what practice is and even talking about it in so a place where in your training it all comes together. Am I correct in
Very
understanding
correct.
that's what you're saying?
You kid me.
Okay. That's very interesting. Yeah. Any other points? Yeah, I can see. You seem to be
Yeah.
brimming with
As
points.
Isabel is actually talking now, I'm realizing that, you know what, how it happened. The child in care workers got used to the idea that, you know what, they're very good in field work and I'm very good at presenting. So when they were going to approach people, they would use this radio, but the radio can't get people. The only thing I would do is just present. I would make people listen to me, but I can't recruit the way they did because they have experience on how to approach a family. I don't have that experience. The only experience I have is to share what I learned, and that's the theory. And when I do my theory, I excel in my theory, and when they're doing their approaching, they excel in there.
Yeah.
So that's how we were helping each other. They
Yeah.
knew that, oh, when we're approaching the school, we can use her, and then she'll do her thing.
Yeah.
I don't, even now, I don't even need to prepare for a presentation because it's here. It's
Yeah.
something that I do every day. But ask me about recruitment, that's a different story.
Okay. Anything else that you feel might be missing? Because he has a big size. I think even the machine's going to pick up the size. Is there anything you would like to add? No. Okay.
Oh, for me, okay. Yeah, it's true. We do need CYC that are more experienced than us who are coming from DUT. Because I remember my first day at the clinic, I couldn't approach the young person and I asked Notobego, what do I need to do first to approach the young person? And then she talked with 2 or 3 clients. Then I learned from that. Then I was able to approach the clients at the clinic. Yeah.
Okay. But you just needed a bit of guidance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I haven't done it before. Because we were maybe you gonna do your practicals at preschool. You are taken to the preschool and then you do your thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
nice.
in preschool, you just work with young people.
Yeah.
Not
play
the
with
whole
them.
family.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think we need. I don't know if it's the module or what, but we need let me just say a
and
module
training.
or a training that will train us on how to work with the whole family. Because we only deal with young people,
Yeah.
and they make it it's easy
Mm.
when you go out there. While it's
And
not
you are
easy.
just being told to be friendly, smile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then I think
But maybe preschools are not a good practical place.
yes, they're not good.
Because it's just kind of easy.
Yeah, it's very easy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Am I right? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
because you
either.
just
Yeah.
Yeah, now I have something to say.
Now. Okay.
I wish the designers of the qualifications,
Yes.
because we have NQF level 4 and 6 to 7,
Yes.
I wish they could just state a difference as to what is different between studying NQF level 4 and NQF level 6, because at the end of the day we're doing the same job, our job descriptions are the same, everything is the same. So why would I go and study many years, whereas I can study 18 months, because at the end of the day everything is the same. So I wish they could just say, okay, because now we have a degree, this is what is different from the other qualification.
Yeah.
Because now it seems like we study so many years and yet everything is the same.
Yeah, it's feel like we started from nothing.
And
It's
the
very-
child and youth workers at sites, they do laugh at that. They do say,
And
yeah,
it's very sad.
okay, you have
Yeah,
to
it
degree,
is sad shame
but
because
then
we spend so
you're
much
working in
money.
the same place, you're being paid the same amount.
Yeah.
When we
What's
have
the
debts,
difference?
when
Yes.
we have
not
debts
that
at
easy.
university,
It's so sad
we
shame.
still owe it.
So
And you
sad.
don't think that that you have the possibility of moving ahead to other more senior positions if you've got a degree?
We do have the possibility.
Yeah, I do think that is the case, isn't it?
Yes.
Because
I'm
Because-
living proof of
yeah, you're living proof. I mean, you are. Yeah. I mean, Isabel is living proof.
Yes.
I'm living proof, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. And you will be, you will
Not
be,
yet.
and you
But
will
then
become living
what
proof.
can I say? Sometimes it's so disappointing because I got a degree. Okay, experience counts a lot, especially in child and youth care. That is what I have experienced because, as I've said before, when I came here, I was helped by a CYC, got
with an NQ level 4.
Yes, and I got a degree and I don't have an experience. But then at the same time, guys, we studied for like 4 years, paid a huge amount of money that we still need to pay. And then when they come here, you are being mentored by a person maybe who got, is it? I'm not sure about the levels, yeah, but then a person who doesn't have a degree or a diploma. So at some point, yeah, I know I don't have an experience, but then sometimes it's just sad and disappointing, and you end up like, am I in the right profession? Do I want to change my profession? As Sam was saying, do I need to change and study something else? Yeah, you end up being confused at the same time. Yeah.
And
I
it's
strongly disagree. My mentality does not allow me to
No,
agree with
that was my experience.
Yes, that's what I'm
No,
also speaking
I mean,
about.
everybody can have
when
their
I
opinions.
when I got here, my mentor was also she did not have a degree, but within a space of 3 months, the things I learned from her are things I'm carrying still
Ah.
this day.
Yeah.
That was my own experience. Also, something that I've noticed is some of the things I've noticed that people that have the qualification carry it in their head that they have the qualification and the person does not have. At the same time, you're looking at the experience, what they're saying that comes out of their mouth, and the person that doesn't have experience does not mix and match. It also doesn't make sense. So you can have a degree, but still the passion and what comes here is a different story. That's what I stand for. Because even now, I can be sitting in a table with other qualifications. When I open my mouth, you have to listen because what I say, I know what I say, and I stand for my story. So for me, compassion and passion are two different things.
Okay, so you saying that the degree also gives you the knowledge to be able to stand
Articulate
up and
yourself. Articulate what child in UK is.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, people, can I just go back one couple of steps actually, right to the beginning? We talked about relationship, and I think that was where you started, Isabel. And just to say, what is the work that we do to build those relationships? What do you do? I mean, as you said, that you're still not sure about when you go into a family, that's fine. But what do you know about what to do in building those relationships?
In black culture, it's a different story. In black communities, it's different. Because one, there's this strong belief that you do not challenge what a parent or a caregiver says. So communication already is broken down. That's the first thing you notice in relationships in black communities. Young people can't voice out their opinion in whose house, on which grounds. So when you're entering in another person's house, in another person's home with an approach to help them, the first thing you need to understand is your position in this family. That you're an outside. So it's kind of like you're walking on eggshells. You have to state the reason why you are here in a sense that it does not offend anyone. We are not here to defend anyone because we do not have a problem in this family. So working with families really is tough, but the emphasis needs to stand on the fact that you are here for help. and they need to accept it because that's where it starts. The relationship starts. A person needs to accept your help for the relationship to go further. Because if you're not accepted, you're not going to be able to help people that are not interested.
Okay, thanks, Zetu. Anybody else?
Raise a hand.
Oh, I missed the hand.
Sorry. I think for me, going into a family or anywhere where I do go, personally it comes first with respect and humbleness.
Yes.
You can't just walk in somewhere and expect to be welcomed, or you're gonna be the person with the answers. You get there, you humble yourself, you give the family or whoever you're going to see respect, and then it's how you approach the family or that individual that matters for me. Because I can come in and I can say, hey, how you doing, or whatever the case. Or I may come in, I'm like, hi everyone, how you doing? This is Mutula Shezi. I'm here for a certain reason. I understand that at this time you may not need my services, and that's okay. But I hope I can still be in contact with you, and I can just come back more or on a different day and visit you on your time where you feel free that, no, it's okay for me to enter because I'm coming in as a stranger. So you need
I feel like I want you to help me, right?
So coming in as a stranger, first thing you are going to get rejected. We need to know that. And it's how you yourself carry yourself and how you want to build that relationship going towards this family, because at the end you have a goal saying, I want to help this family at the end of the day. So how do I go about it? So that's it.
Thank you.
Content.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's beautifully put. Nawaz, did you want to say something?
No,
Oh.
she has said it already.
I think a child and youth care worker is a relational being. There's nothing that I've noticed for me. There's nothing that you can actually. I'm a senior mentor now. When you give an instruction to someone, they're going to do what you've told them, or they're going to retaliate, depending on how you have relayed the message. So you have to learn to, and the work that we're doing right now, if I look at Isibindi Impilo, the model, it's fast paced. So you have a short while to build a relationship. You're walking into a facility and the mother is sitting with their child and they're waiting to collect treatment, or they've came for their bloods. And it's a short while. You want to respect their confidentiality, but they're sitting on a bench. So the way in which you approach a person, the way in which you're going to project yourself matters a lot. And just being able to accept that today this person is saying, I don't need your services. And in the same line, in them rejecting the service, you don't get offended. You actually say, it's fine, I can come back another day when you're comfortable. Just like what she was saying, I can come back another day that you are comfortable. There is I don't think a child and youth care worker can ever cope if they can't build relationships. Because you're driving a child to the clinic. The first thing that comes into my mind, I'm afraid of any sharp object. I'm afraid. I have a tooth that needs to be removed, but it's still there because I don't want to go to the dentist. You're sitting with a child. You have an opportunity to engage right there and then. You're driving to the clinic. Start a conversation. It doesn't take so much to build a relationship. Just start a conversation. Spark a conversation. We're going to the clinic, so have you ever been to a clinic? So what do you think is going to happen at the clinic? Start dispelling myths that the child has about the clinic.
Right.
So every little engagement that you have is an opportunity to build a relationship. So it doesn't take having to do a whole home visit. Yesterday, we were asking for a beneficiary to attend today, the board meeting. When we got there, we're thinking, it's such a short notice. We're telling this mother, we got there, and I started joking with her that I can't speak closer. I started breaking, not pronouncing it properly. And she's laughing. She's like, okay, it's fine. I'm not going to be offended. You can speak in English. So you have to understand diversity. You have to understand culture. Some families will not allow you in if you don't have a duke, if you're wearing pants. So There are so many facets that you need to understand for you to be able to build a relationship. Hey, I'm talking too much.
No, it's fascinating. Yeah.
But respect, humbling yourself, and having a proper manner of approach is key to building relationships. It becomes very easy to recruit beneficiaries, to work with families, to hold a conversation with big families and small families. Those are just the key things.
Also, the patience is also important. You can have your respect and manner of approach, but the parent is in a rush. So you say, he's rushing out, she's rushing outside. I get, follow her. That's what I do at the clinic. Patience. I would like approach them. They're busy with the nurse, with their babies and their stuff. And when they're done with the nurse, they want to go out straight. What do? You leave her?
No.
Grab her bag, follow her. I always follow them to the gates. I also carry their babies. I follow them to the gates. Carry their bag. And then they'll be like, no, thank you, I'm fine. No, it's fine. I know you can be fine for now, but sometimes maybe if I call you, I'll find that you need something from me. Then I'll be there to help. Oh, okay, it's fine. You can take my number and my address. Patience, be patient. Run with the mother to the kids.
And just in that, you've been able to actually start that relationship. You've been able to open the door. Am I right?
Yes. One foot is in.
The one foot is in. Okay. Yeah. That's very interesting. Yeah. I'm always wanting to say, Isabel, if you say, so you're sitting on all this bench like this, and then how do you start that relationship there with all these people?
You go to them one by one. Because when you speak to them in a group while they're sitting there, they will be thinking of the stigma and all that. So it's much better you go to them one by one.
And also I think it's better if you wait in the consultation room so that when they come in. Yes. Because at the clinic where I'm working at, it's exposed children and the other children. So if you go to this group only, obviously they will see that there's something. Yeah. They also know, they keep on asking each other, why are you going to that door? Because we came for the same thing. You see, so I think it's better if you wait inside the consultation room. When the mother comes inside, you approach her right inside, so no one will hear or see what you're talking about. Right. And if the mother is rushing outside, go out with her and come back and wait for another parent to come in.
So where you actually physically position yourself is very important. Actually.
Yes. Yeah. We also borrowed a room because the other one we're working at, it was busy. We wanted the caregivers. So we had to organize another room, and we said, no, because your room is busy, you can come this side. And then when you come into the other side, we do the things.
I'm glad to see you warmed up because it's important information. Thank you. People, we've been talking for a long time now. It's an hour and a half, so thank you very much. I think we could carry on, but there's a lot of information here that we've got already. And I think I might be overwhelmed trying to work it all out and work out what are the themes and so on, because I think that this has been a very rich conversation. So thank you very much for everybody's input. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that this study will make a contribution. No one thing changes the world, but I certainly have spent my life trying to change the child and youth care world, and I intend doing so until I cannot do anything anymore. So hopefully the study will help, and I think your perspectives, particularly on the training, have been very, very helpful. And I wouldn't have thought of those. It's quite interesting that actually, to hear what comes out from people is very, very interesting. So thank you very much for your perspectives. Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, I hope it's interesting at least.
For us, probably what you also don't know is you've actually given us even a chance to debrief. We hold so many things that you think, okay, fine, who am I going to talk to? So talking here, some of the frustrations, I've talked about it, so some of the frustration is actually gone.
Isn't it? It's interesting.
Yes,
And as child and youth care workers, we have to talk. I must say, I throughout my life, I've had close friends who relate, who one talks to about the work, and it's good to have that, because otherwise people don't understand really. A child and youth care worker is so different from anything else. I think I don't know even if your families understand what you do really.
No.
My parents always ask me, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And you have to explain.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, you're a social worker. I always tell them, no, I am more of a social worker. I always tell them I'm more of a social worker.
Okay. Thank you, people. Thank you. All the best. I really, really do appreciate. Thank you. So, yes, if I can please have the signed document, if everybody's comfortable. And I must put this off before it falls in.